Greetings and welcome to Unfaithful. Here, we delve into tales of affection, heartbreak, and the unpredictable twists of life's journey. A vast majority of our audience hasn't yet subscribed. Kindly consider subscribing to show your support, and stay tuned for more enthralling chronicles. Currently, I find myself navigating through an immensely challenging and emotionally turbulent period, one I never envisaged encountering. It all commenced amidst what appeared to be a thriving and gratifying existence, balancing a full time role in a lucrative industry, enjoying a comfortable six-figure salary, all while serving in the National Guard. I felt physically fit and accomplished. Additionally, I had constructed my own home on a small farm, a project that filled me with immense pride. The relational aspect of my life was equally significant. I had spent 11 years with my partner, and we tied the knot just 2 years ago. We were eagerly planning to expand our family, a cherished dream we both held dear. However, the unthinkable occurred. During my prolonged combat deployment, spanning over 6 months, I stumbled upon a startling revelation. It felt as though the ground had shifted beneath my feet. I discovered that in my absence, my wife engaged in an affair with the individual we had hired to mend our fence. The blow was intensified by the realization that they indulged in unprotected intimacy on numerous occasions, and she had developed deep feelings for him. They shared a connection and experiences she never disclosed to me previously. It seemed as though she found in him the quintessential small-town cowboy, a persona I could never emulate. I had been leading a life far removed from that archetype, and now I grapple with the agonizing truth that she discovered something in someone else that eluded her with me. Adding to the complexity is the fact that my wife remains oblivious to the extent of their betrayal, unaware that I am fully cognizant of their infidelity. Her demeanor has unquestionably shifted since my return home. She insisted on enduring solitude for a year, ostensibly adjusting to my absence. However, deep down, I can't shake the feeling that her lingering presence is owed to my decision to stay, despite uncovering her betrayal. Now, the quandary lies in charting a course forward and navigating the ruins of trust and affection laid bare by the jolting revelation. This is a scenario that surpasses any conceivable expectation. Making sense of the unraveling is a daunting task. I've always prided myself on being a dependable provider and guardian. Yet my wife opted for an affair with a younger, alluring cowboy who, complicating matters further, is already wedded with children and reputedly engages in affairs with clients. The shock and anguish cut deep because my wife deliberated on starting a family with this other man, envisioning a shared future, even discussing progeny. Meanwhile, she leads this double life, feigning normalcy between us. It's a tormenting paradox to witness her making plans for our future, such as our agricultural endeavors and poultry acquisitions, all while deceiving me on such a profound level. Maintaining composure throughout has been exceedingly arduous. The military ingrained stoicism and resilience in me. Yet I've reached a tipping point. I've confided in my devout Catholic confidant, divulging every nuance of this heartrending saga. He advocates for salvaging the relationship, but I'm inclining toward initiating divorce proceedings, concluding this chapter of my life. Even maintaining a semblance of friendship seems implausible at this juncture. Hence, I've initiated the preliminary steps by arranging consultations with 2 attorneys to commence the dissolution of our marriage. Adding to the emotional toll is the suspicion that my wife may lack remorse for her actions, prompting speculation about her potentially sociopathic tendencies. Regrettably, securing in-person therapy sessions remains elusive, with the earliest appointments over 3 weeks away, an exasperating setback given the urgency of the circumstances. Recently, I summoned the courage to confide in my mother and closest confidants. It was an emotionally taxing exchange, yet their unwavering support and empathy have been a source of solace. While I've yet to confront my wife regarding my awareness of her infidelity, preparations are underway. In just 2 days, legal consultations are slated to initiate the divorce proceedings, as the irreconcilability of this relationship becomes increasingly apparent. The situation has escalated dramatically, prompting me to take decisive action in confronting my wife about her affair. Opting to engage a private investigator, the revelations unearthed were profoundly unsettling. The individual involved in the affair boasts multiple aliases, a suspended license, and a prior criminal record. At 28 years old, he is married with 2 children and astonishingly resides just a mere 15 minutes away from our residence. Last night, my emotional turmoil reached a crescendo. I was overcome by a panic attack, awakening in tears while she slumbered beside me. When I broached the subject, she nonchalantly attributed my distress to workout supplements or remnants from my overseas deployment. I couldn't shake the suspicion of intentional manipulation or genuine ignorance on her part regarding the gravity of the situation. The following day, after completing a night shift at the refinery, I received intel from my private investigator, indicating that she had lunch with this man at Cordoba while I slept, contradicting her earlier claim of shopping. Confronting her regarding this blatant falsehood became inevitable. I meticulously planned to do so on her birthday, aiming to maintain control over the situation and secure closure on my terms. As the day dawned, surprisingly serene amidst the impending turmoil, I arose early, oddly composed, and braced myself for the challenging dialogue ahead. After a rigorous and lengthy workout, I found some clarity of mind. When my wife arrived home early in the evening, she appeared radiant and excited. She had spent the day shopping and preparing herself to look beautiful for her special occasion. Handing her a gorgeously wrapped box, I watched as anticipation sparkled in her eyes while she eagerly tore it open. The unmistakable disappointment and shock on her face revealed themselves when she discovered the neatly folded divorce papers inside. Summoning the strength, I divulged the truth about the affair, her involvement with the cowboy, and the myriad of lies that had accumulated over time. Each word felt like a heavy blow to her gut. Collapsing, she cried and pleaded for forgiveness, but it was painfully apparent that reconciliation was beyond reach. As her parents called to wish her a happy birthday, I made the gut-wrenching decision to lay everything bare. It was agonizing, but necessary. While they extended their felicitations, I couldn't bear to continue living under the weight of lies. I began revealing the painful truth, only to be met with anguished screams from my mother-in-law on the other end. It was a devastating moment, signaling the irreversible path I had chosen by deciding to expose her infidelity. I sent emails to her family, friends, and colleagues, providing evidence of her betrayal. No longer willing to protect her reputation when my trust had been so egregiously shattered, I made her actions public. The shock in her eyes was palpable as she answered call after call, her room filled with sobs and apologies. Her envisioned birthday celebration had veered far from reality. Finally, it was time for the last step of my plan. Swinging open the front door, all her belongings were neatly arranged on the porch. She was no longer welcome in our home. Despite her pleading turning into loud cries, I remained resolute. She had to gather her things and leave. In the days that followed, her family began gaslighting me, shifting the blame onto me for the situation. They disregarded her unprotected contact with another man, attributing it to my emotional unavailability. My wife even went so far as to fabricate stories to the cowboy's wife. Her family seemed to prioritize her over me, excluding me from their considerations. Instead of aiding and healing, they sided with her. Despite suggestions of therapy and reconciliation, my wife remained convinced she could manipulate me into staying. Amidst this emotional turmoil, She signed the divorce paperwork this morning, and I filed it. Despite expressing a strong desire to mend our marriage, rated at a perfect 10 out of 10, it was clear that the damage was irreparable. She made a solemn promise to dedicate herself fully over the next 89 days to prove her commitment. However, I found myself unable to muster any care anymore. It's been several weeks now, and her calls and texts have dwindled in frequency. Through mutual friends, I've learned that she's not coping well, feeling miserable, isolated, and consumed by regret. Rumor has it she's house hunting in Texas and exploring job transfers within her company. Today, on May 12th, the divorce has been finalized, marking the conclusion of a painful chapter in both our lives. The aftermath of our divorce has brought about significant changes for both of us. I ended up keeping the house while she decided to relocate to Texas and change careers. Throughout this entire ordeal, she has shown no remorse and has refused to take responsibility for the dissolution of our life together. Coming home from my demanding deployment in the Middle East to a situation that ultimately led to divorce was even harder to bear. These past few months since my return have undeniably been the most challenging period of my life. Every tale has two sides, but this particular situation completely shattered me as a man. It felt like it stripped me down to my very essence, testing the core of my being. I've had to rediscover my vulnerability and lean on the faith I cultivated overseas for strength. For that, I am profoundly grateful. Understanding why people inflict hurtful actions or betray others remains a perplexing question to which I still lack answers. However, I've come to believe that everything happens for a reason, even if that reason was to show me that building a family with a particular individual wasn't the intended path for me. My faith, the unwavering support of my closest friends from the academy, my friends and family back home, and the constant check-ins from the men and women I deployed with have been my lifelines during these dark moments. To those who consistently reached out to me during my darkest hours, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude. Your support meant everything to me. Now it's time for a new chapter, a fresh start with someone who genuinely desires to create those stories alongside me. This experience has reshaped my perspective on life and relationships, and I'm hopeful for what the future holds. Dear listener, if you've made it this far, please consider subscribing to our channel as it helps and motivates us to continue our work.